creating momentum in our life is really important. And as I was preparing for this webinar, I wanted to, look, I always love to find a story that's really, really relevant to the topic. And the one I'm about to share is something that happened quite recently in my life. So before I share that story, I just wanted to give you a small introduction of me. My name is Wildeboer. My business is Balance Central, and my favorite thing to do is to sit with others and listen to what is going on for them, and more importantly, what might be helpful to help them just take that next step forward. And that's what Balance Central is all about. No matter what program, what session, what workshop I run, it's all about, well, what can we do next to get that small movement forward? So that's a bit of me, and now on to what tonight is all about, what this webinar is really for. And this is for you and being able to give you a chance to create momentum. So the story that I mentioned, I'm going to take a deep breath. So it was May this year, and it was actually around 2:30 on a Friday afternoon. I just finished working with a client in this room inside, and I needed to go back inside to my house. And what was amazing was I walked inside and I was confronted with something that surprised me. My 20-year-old daughter was standing there in absolute tears. She was just devastated, and I was like, well, what's wrong? What's happened? And after a 3.5-year relationship, it was over. The boyfriend had broken up with her. And I think the last time she was that devastated, it was when we missed out on seeing something at Disneyland when she was 8. I mean, really, the heartbreak was amazing. So with that in front of me, both my husband and I, over the next 3 or 4 days, we just gave her protection, comfort, love. We just wrapped her around us and just made sure that she felt very safe and secure in the world. And it was a lovely few days because we really became quite close-knit. Over the next week, though, something very typical happened. She started reaching out to the ex. She'd make excuses to go and see him. She would send him messages just for any small reason that she could possibly think of. And we let that go on because, you know, this is part of what she needs to do. And then she came home after a few weeks and said, "Mum, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. There's nothing left." And I went, "Great, done. Wash your hands of him. You're sorted. Get on with your life. Move on." That was my response. My husband's response was a little gentler, but in the same kind of approach. He said, "Excellent, we'll just distract you with lots of fun things. We're going to entertain you. We're going to make jokes about the ex-boyfriend," because he thought that was funny. And we just hit her with our approaches of, get on with your life now. And after a few days, we noticed something happen. She started to retreat. She would stay in her bedroom longer than she normally would. And that concerned me. So I took a step back and I had a look at what we'd been doing. And there was the reveal. What we've been doing is we've been putting our own personal experiences of our own relationship breakups onto her. The way that we had dealt with a breakup relationship was what we now wanted her to do. But she's not us. So we had to change it. Now, we can't change, I couldn't change my experience of my relationship breakup, but what I could change was the expression that I was using, the words I was saying, and the energy behind what we wanted to give her. So we did that through listening and really hearing where her emotions were at. And then we did something else. We went back to what we'd done on day one, which was provide her comfort and safety and protection. And as soon as we did that, she came out of her room. She started to tackle the world again. And I swear it's in record time. She now has found a man who looks after her and cares for her in a way that she's not experienced before. So she's a very happy young lady again. I share this story around the principle of relationship because it's such a common thing that we all naturally do. We put our own experiences onto others. So I'm going to share another little tiny example of this. Have you ever been sitting in a chair? You might even be sitting in a chair now, and you feel just a bit uncomfortable. The chair might be uncomfortable. You might just not, I don't know, just feeling uncomfortable in the chair. And somebody comes up and interrupts you. And you just kind of go, oh, what? Such a bother. What's happening is the relationship that you're having with the chair, which is uncomfortable, starts to play out to the person that's just tapped you on the shoulder. And that's the principle of relationship at work. What relationship you have with the chair is expressed to the people around you. And that's what stops our momentum in our life. Because what we do is we pile our experiences of how we relate to objects and to people around us, and we pile them up on top of each other. And that creates this blockage, this kind of like we have to get over all of those experiences before we can get through and create the momentum that we want in our life. So with sharing that story with you, I really want to highlight that, you know, we can't change the principle of relationship. It is always at play. However, we can change whether we're going to enforce our experiences onto others, or if others are landing their experiences on us, we can go, nah, don't know that I need that. We have the power to either take on other people's experiences or just take a moment of their experience and then let it go. That really, really helps with keeping us clear and in our power. Now, of course, we all do this a little differently. We all have a slightly different way of managing our principle of relationship. We're going to dig a little bit on that. So, who are you is all about the different person that you are, the different energy that you have to, say, the next person beside you, really defines the way that you're going to interact with the principle of relationship. Now, there are a couple of categories I'm going to go through that we all mostly fit into. The first one is a discovery type person. Now, this energy is always looking to expand. Often it's in ideas. They often look for new ways of doing things. They like to research. They want to have all the information so that they can know how to move forward. They're very visionary type people. They also get distracted very easily because that next thing they're looking at might be the thing to help them expand further. So with the principle of relationship, you can see that if you are taking on other people's experiences and maybe that other person isn't quite a discovery type person, it's going to really deaden your capacity to be the really bright discovery type person that you are. So the next one that we look at is an embracing type of person. Now, they're always willing to include others, and generally it relates to people. They're pretty easy to spot. In a group environment, they are the ones that will walk in and have to say hello to every single person in the room. Have you ever been in a work environment where you've got that one person that literally goes around and says hi to everyone in the workplace? That's an embracing type of person. They just want to include everyone in whatever it is they're doing. They also are willing to include other people's suggestions, and they like to people please. So, because they want to just include all of the needs that other people have. So again, in relation to the principle of relationship, this embracing can be deadened by taking on everybody else's needs and not quite being able to stand in a really good, solid power and empowerment of just embracing everything that is around us, which is what those embracing people do exceptionally well. The next category that we're going to have a look at is essentials. Now, these are people who really sense what's needed. They are often a little bit more observant. They like a bit of detail, and they can see kind of the detail and how it affects others. And that's part of this sensing the need. As you could well imagine, if they are having other people's experiences landing on top of them, their ability to sense the need might still be strong, but whose needs are they actually satisfying, and whose needs are they looking after? And that's where it gets a little bit stagnant for the person that's in that really strong essential energy. And the final one I want to share with you is perceptive. Now, perceptive people, they just know where they're heading. They often have a process to get there, and they just know things. And I'll tell you the reason why they know it is that they have run probably 25 scenarios in their head to work out which option is available to them. Now, what happens for them when the principle of relationship gets extras added on top of it is that instead of just having 25 scenarios that they have to process through, they now have 50 or 100. And so it slows them down, and it makes them just a little bit cloudy about what direction do they need to take anyway. So each of these energies are completely affected by this principle of relationship and how clear or not clear this principle is within each energy. So now that we have a bit of an idea about these different energies, I just want to give you some ways that each of these energies can use their secret power, discovery, embracing, essentials, and perceptive, and actually get past their brick wall. So for tonight, the purpose of tonight is talking about the principle of relationship. So this is the brick wall that I'm referring to. So how does this discovery person move beyond that brick wall? Well, the more ideas that they can come up with, the more people that they can surround themselves with that also have ideas will help spark and engage that discovery energy, and that allows them to find new ways through that brick wall. Embracing energy, what they need to do is gather the people that can help them, because that's what they do best. They know, well, okay, not everybody, but they pretty much know everybody. And they can gather the people around them to really help them boost their energy and give them that strength that sometimes they feel a little lost in. The essentials really get to get through that capacity to sense the right need, they have to slow down. They have to take more breaths. They have to get quieter, because that's actually where their strength is, so that they can really tune into what they need first, because that will then help others around them. So when they have these brick walls, they need to just be a little bit quieter, and they will take a little longer to move through their brick wall, but when they do, it's over and it will never be seen again. And then the perceptive energy, the way that they get over this brick wall is they stand back for a while and they've got to work out the direction, because that is their strength. And what they do is that they have a look at this brick wall and they can see that they could maybe go around it, they could go over it, or they could go under it. They work out their direction. So I want to talk about collaboration, because it's all well and good to know our different energies, but what's even better is when we can collaborate. Now, we often see collaboration played out in a team environment. We need to collaborate with others in any work environment, whether it's in our own business or in a team, in a corporate environment. We need to learn how others communicate in the world, how they listen, what motivates them to become effective in our collaborations. Well, here's an idea. We also need to find out a really effective way to allow all parts of our energy to collaborate well together. Because I can tell you, sometimes your head will be wanting one thing, your heart might want something else, and your gut instinct might be going, I don't know if I want to listen to either of them. And when we have those three things happening and they're all working separately, we're really not able to collaborate internally. And then things get a bit haywire, and that can also stop our momentum. So if we, just backtracking a little, if we've got our energy sorted and we know what energy we are and we know how to get through our brick walls, but if we're not actually collaborating internally, it can stop us again. So collaboration between our energy is really important. So back to my story that I shared, I can tell you that my heart and my head was very much working together when I was encouraging my daughter to just ditch it, sorted, get on with your life, don't even think about him again. That was very much, my heart wanted that for her, and my head was very logical. I wanted to make sure that she could move on and get on with her life. But I'd forgotten about the instinct. I wasn't paying attention to her. I hadn't tuned in enough to her to see what it is she needed. And as soon as I did that, as soon as I started collaborating all three of those areas, then we had some magic. And that's why collaboration is so important when we're talking about how we function in the world, and particularly when we are relating to others. And really, principle of relationship is all about the way we relate to others. Look, I want to just stop the share, and I'm going to come back and have a bit of a chat more to you. Before I finish this webinar, I just want to share with you a really quick story about what else I'm going to do as a result of you being on this call. So I'm part of an organisation, I'm a member of an organisation called B1G1. B1 allows me to give back on a global scale. So it's very exciting because you have joined me on this webinar today. We have been able to enhance a life but more specifically, a kid's life. And what we're doing is we're providing vitamins and supplements so that it helps to prevent blindness to kids. So we've given 100 doses of these vitamins just because you're on the call tonight. So we are making massive impacts around the world just because you joined me for half an hour. I am so thrilled about that. On that note, I want to leave you with a quote. Ultimately, I want you to empower yourself with your own knowledge and wisdom. I want to be able to give you a chance to remove all of those other experiences that have landed on top of you and allow you to step into who you are in your power and relate to others through that energy.